Si.
Hello, mate.
Nice to meet you at last.
Nice to meet you, Keith.
I've introduced you on stage a few times.
Yes.
But we've never actually sat down and spoken.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. Thanks for the great intro.
Thank you very much.
You even got my name right.
Yeah. Well, there was a band the other week, and I just went because I totally forgot them, you know. And it's totally unprofessional, but it's what people expect.
Don't be daft. You're a professional, mate. You're a professional. Thank you for doing me the honours.
But first time here at the Suburbs.
First time here, yeah. Lovely little venue, great crowd, great vibe, and yeah, lovely staff. Met Andy earlier on.
Yeah.
Lovely fella. Yeah, I thoroughly recommend it. It's a great venue, actually. It really nice. Lovely sound on stage as well.
It is.
Often better than some of the bigger venues we play. You know.
Yeah.
They've done it. They've done a good job. You know, you can see they've put the sound diffusers up on the ceiling so the drums aren't killing you on stage. Not too loud. So no, nice night.
Yeah, because you've obviously been doing this a few years now.
I have been doing it a few years. Yeah.
I don't mean to say that.
No, not at all. It's funny, really, as we get older, because I've got two kids now, and the fact that they're 14 and 12,
right?
You know, and like, I can't believe the time. I mean, without them, I think it's good to have kids because time just goes so quick. I mean, that's fast enough as it is with kids, but without kids, I think, you know, decades would be. You know,
they would just go.
Flash,
they would just go. So what do you tell them you do? Because I
Well, my kids, well, they know I'm musical, and they know that. I mean, I make songs up. I sit down in my little garage studio day and night trying to come up with the big hit. I tell them next year we'll be millionaires. I've done it. I've got the song, but you know, that's what we all do. We follow our passion, and we, you know, it's the doing and the following it. Really, I suppose that makes up for the life that we lead, rather than the getting there.
that's right. I mean, I met Rick Witter from Shed 7.
Oh, okay.
And his children were really young, and he'd go out on tour with Shed 7.
Yeah.
And the kids would say, Daddy's going out singing.
Yeah, that's it. Daddy's going out singing. Yeah. Mine are a bit older. And they're actually getting back into my music, though. They kind of they like their modern stuff, but they understand that I like all the old, all the old Trojan records.
Sure.
All the old rocking tunes.
Yeah.
All the old rocking R&B, the Little Richards. So, you know, they actually enjoy it, you know, so I make sure that they're getting exposed to some of the culture of yesterday mixed in with what they get on their phones and feeds of today. So hopefully, you know, it makes for a healthy fusion.
Yeah. Because the thing with kids nowadays is that they see old songs in films.
Oh yeah, I know they're into it. I know they get right into it. I mean, my kids are playing a lot of on their playlists. There's all sorts of stuff, you know, coming up from stuff that I grew up listening to, from stuff that I loved that was in the 50s and 60s to stuff of today. So
that's right. So do you come from a musical family?
Well, I think, look, I mean, my parents were music fans and fanatical. They used to go to the dances. My dad had the ska clubs back in the day, which was a wonderful heritage for my whole family, my brother and sister. You know, we had their records, and my dad was a real force in our house. You know, there was only certain songs you could turn up when I was a kid growing up. So, and obviously ska was the big thing.
Yeah.
And my dad would tell stories about the old ska days and stuff, and you know, you never heard nothing. And funnily enough, and this is always funny because when I was a kid growing up, listening to because their record collection was Bill Haley, Little Richard, and then you'd have Studio One tunes, Alton Ellis, you know, Bob Andy, Ethiopians, Scatlights, you know, Bob Marley and the Wailers. But you know, what was funny was when I was a kid growing up, like I remember when I was 11, I had a Walkman, and I had the Specials album, the Specials on cassette, and I played it all the time. I loved it, you know.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand my dad because he wasn't into that two-tone sound.
No, it's funny.
Because the first wave ska boys, I don't understand it, but they never really were as approving to the two-tone movement that was enormous and wonderful. You know, it was different, but it had its own thing. And if it had been a carbon copy, it sounded exactly the same as the Jamaican ska, it wouldn't have been the magic two-tone that we know, because the two-tone had attitude, it had punk, it had Britain, it had all that sort of working class. It just had a different vibe to it. But the one record my dad loved, that I was only the only tune on the specials cassette I was allowed to turn up, was A Message to You, Rudy.
Rudy, yeah, which was of course originally Dandy Livingstone.
Which was, but it was the one song that obviously, you know, I thought, oh, you know, he approves, and he always used to let me. He always would turn it up when the trombone solo kicked in on the specials recording. I'll never forget it. But my dad was always turn up, and that was another thing about my dad. He always used to turn up the instrumental, so the song would be cooking like an old ska tune, and going. And then as soon as you'd have like Don Drummond coming in, or you know, some of the other boys playing. I forget the fella, the trumpet, famous trumpeter.
Rico Rodriguez.
Yeah. Any of those boys start soloing, he'd turn it up even more. You know, he'd go right, and then he'd crank that up.
Yeah.
But that was a real. So when you asked me the question, that's a very long-winded answer. But when you asked the question, were my parents musical? Yes, from that aspect, but no, from going across to singing and playing musical instruments. They never did any of that.
Very much like me, to be honest. I mean, I'm a massive fan, and I know exactly where your dad's coming from, because I was one of the original ska back in them days, you know, and I never got two-tone. Never got it. Well, say I never got it, because of course, Madness and things like that, you know, I loved.
But that's just the thing, but it was a fan, and I got that, but I think my dad softened to it now, because when you look at what the two-tone and Madness, Specials, the Beat, Selector, all those bands, they were so magical. Bad Manners, all those bands were so magical in what they did. Do you know what I mean? They created something so wonderful and unique, and it was a wonderful, and it's that human. You soak it up like a sponge, and you absorb it, and you're emulated by it, but you don't realise it. But subconsciously, you're creating something else that's unique, and a unique sound that's your own. Which is the Madness sound, the Beat sound.
That's right.
The Special sound. It was a unique, wonderful thing, and to me that's part of the magic of music. It's when you're influenced by something and you soak that influence up, and you create something that's unique, because you're not it, you're still part of it, but you know, you become part of it and something else. And anyway, that's where I come from, and that's why I don't just do ska. I sort of mix it up with ska. I put ska in the rock and roll, I put rock and roll in the ska, I'll put soul in the blues, and because I like that sort of thing. I like to sort of fuse up stuff, and that's kind of why I love music. You know, I like to sort of hear. You know, I like to listen to a two-tone record. I can hear the Jamaicans in there, but it ain't Jamaican.
No.
That's the magic. You know, and if you listen to the Jamaicans, wonderful, fantastic first wave ska, you're actually listening to something else, because that was the Jamaicans listening to the rock and rollers. That was the Jamaican ska sound. All those boys, all the, you know, the Out and Ellises, the Bob Marleys, the Toots, Danny Livingstone, Desmond Decker. They were all listening to Sam Cooke, Fats Domino, Nat King Cole. They were listening to those singers, and they were influenced by those singers. And then they, you know, the Ken Boos. That was their take on that music, and again, it's a wonderful thing. And to me, that's the magic. It's the sponge, the musical sponge that we all possess as creative artists, and we pull from different artists and we create our own thing. And that's why I love what I do, and I feel lucky to be doing it.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic that you've had that heritage that you can take from different areas.
Well, the thing was as well is when I was going through my parents' records when I was a kid over the school holidays, there was no YouTube, there was no internet, there was no videos, there was no visuals that went with it. So all I had was a big square cover of a guy, the font, you know, Out and Ellis of Sam Cooke, Fats Domino, Nat King Cole, Bill Haley, Elvis Presley. All I had was that, and I would put that record on. I had no idea. I was 12, 13.
That's so long ago, mate.
Put that record on. Lovely to see you. Safe journey home to Lorraine. All right, give her my best.
Yeah,
all right.
she absolutely enjoyed it.
Happy days. All right, good. She's happy, is she?
Yeah. She's very happy.
Well, you take good care of her. Give her a big hug and a kiss from me.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah.
And you do know I won't be editing this. So
that's all right.
What's your name?
Dan. This is Dan. I'm on the stage, at the very back of the room. CDs are up there.
Cheers, mate.
They're only a tenner or 3 for 20.
All right, cheers.
Okay.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, so we've done a bit of marketing, a bit of schmoozing. So we're doing well. But yeah, so it's been absolutely marvellous for you to take time out. Because we're in your break.
Oh, in my break? Well, there's never a break. It's show business. We've all got to work together, haven't we? We've got to pull together. We've come through. So the music scene, the entertainment world, we've all come through a big beat in recent years. We've got to come out the other side. Get people coming back out. Feeling good.
I've just realised we were sitting in front of the axe throwing.
Oh, right. Nice. I wonder what that was.
Yeah, that's axe throwing, that is.
Okay.
And
Nice.
I didn't think of it.
I'm glad it's not going on while we're doing this.
I thought that, just as I looked up. We're lucky that's not going on. Anyway, brilliant. So thank you so much for taking time out.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure.
And looking forward to the second half of the show.
Yeah, brilliant. And a new album's coming out called Jollification next year. Well, it's coming out this year, and a tour next year, Jollification tour. Love to see people come to that.
Yeah,
it's my first big sort of. I put on a tour this year, my first sort of smaller tour. Next year's going a bit bigger. We're playing some of the O2 Carling venues.
Right.
So I'm trying to creep up the ladder. So if you are watching and you want a good night out and you want to give the old the old dog a chance, then come down and see me. I'll sing my heart out for you, and I've written a bunch of new tunes. I'd love to see you there.
Thanks very much.
All right. Take care.
Look forward to the second half.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.